call this meeting to order at 7:10 p.m. This is a work session of the governing body of the Borough of Bloomingdale, Tuesday, May 6th. I'd ask everyone if you please rise to salute our nation's flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Dunleavy.
Here.
Councilmember Giassi.
Here.
Costa.
Here.
Councilman Demoto asked to be excused this evening. Del Ripa.
Here.
Hudson.
Yes.
Sandemeyer.
Here. Also with us are Municipal Clerk Jane McCarthy and Borough Attorney Fred Zemra. Thank you for joining us. This is an official meeting of the governing body of the Borough of Bloomingdale. On January 4th, 2014, the date and time was taxed all local news media posted here at Borough Hall. And we have no need for an early executive session. We do have one non-agenda item for the public to be aware of in case you wish to speak to it at public comment. And that non-agenda item is the hiring of a part-time dispatcher. For the record, we had a part-time dispatcher who was put in place of our retiring full-time, and this individual we'll be hiring this evening is replacing that part-time. So that's the only non-agenda item we have on the schedule. And yes?
Isn't that the New Jersey dock submitted to the 2 of 20? I see that in the non-agenda in the books.
You just put it in. Hold on a second. Oh, yeah, it's not. It was just public comment. I'll give that in my report regarding the Star Lake DOT award. I'll just comment in my report on that. Thank you. Before we begin and open to early public comment, I just want to take a moment of everyone's time. And if you would just indulge me for a moment. Hey, guys, how are you? Again, thank you everyone and welcome this evening. You know, at the beginning of the year, I personally decided to make a change in my life and did a New Year's resolution that I would decide to, and it's as simple as, you know, stop and smell the roses. You know, we're all guilty of it. We all get caught up in our day-to-day lives with work and family and careers, and sometimes we forget to stop and smell the roses. Sometimes we forget to tell the people we love that we love them, give our children and spouses a hug, and sometimes we forget to tell those closest to us, whether they be family or coworkers, how much we appreciate them and how important they are to us. And on that vein, and part of my resolution for the new year, leads to a perfect time to recognize our clerk, Jane McCarthy. Not only because Jane McCarthy was named as the Municipal Clerks Association of New Jersey's Member Spotlight Award for the month of April 2014. Not just because of that, because Jane is extremely special to all of us. Jane, I refer to as the glue of the borough. Before I speak personally about Jane, I want to just read to you some comments from the Municipal Clerks Association of New Jersey. The purpose of this award is to recognize the members who bring positive attention to the profession of the clerk through engagement in civic activities or events outside of their normal duties and responsibilities in their home or in their work communities. The St. County Clerks Association, President Kelly Rowe, nominated you for your support for honoring always America's servicemen and women, including the establishment of your sons, Sergeant Richard, and the Febby's Memorial Fund, and always be a proponent of veterans' rights. In addition, Kelly pointed out that your membership as a Rotarian, your former secretary of the Chamber of Commerce, a CCD teacher, a cheerleading coach, contributions to the St. County Clerks Association, and other community involvement, just to name just a few that Jane has done for all the communities. The Clerks Association of New Jersey thanks you for bringing positive attention to your position as Borough Clerk and for your dedication to the above programs. And on behalf of the Executive Board and all the members, they ask you to accept their appreciation and say thank you for all you do. And in the vein of my resolution, it's important that we, Bloomingdale residents, our governing body, and all of our staff don't forget, because sometimes we do, to thank you for all you do and show our appreciation. Jane amazes me each and every day. When I got this award, I sent Jane a private note, how she blows me away with her commitment to her family, to her friends, and to her coworkers, her commitment to the veterans, and I simply describe Jane as an incredible, incredible woman. And I'd like, Jane, for you to come off the dais, and please with me, let's stop and smell the roses together as I present Jane her favorite yellow rose. And if we can have a round of applause.
Oh, that would be lovely.
Do you know the meaning of these?
I don't, I heard they were your favorite.
Thank you, thank you. I just have something, I had a feeling these guys were going to do this. And this is what I wrote back to the association, but first, these are my cohorts, my partners in crime, my peers, Antoinette Taglia from West Milford, and Liz Brandis from the Lakes, touched by heartbreak.
But we're here for everybody. All 16 municipalities unanimously agree that.
Wonderful.
But this is what
Thank
I
you both
wrote,
for
if
being
I could
here.
do it without, to the association. I'm honored to be recognized by my peers. I've been working in government since 1987, and absolutely love my job and the interaction with the public and the community. When one dedicates their life to this type of position, your involvement doesn't end at 5 o'clock, and the role of a municipal clerk is one I consider an honor, and one which allows me to interface with the community and use my experience to make the public aware of the fact that there are good, dedicated public employees out there, ones who live the job. I am blessed to work with a wonderful group of people in Bloomingdale. For my extended family, and my association of fellow clerks has been with me through the good times and the bad times, always supporting and helping. Thank you for this honor, and all the municipal clerks who live their life as role models and conduits for municipality. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
It's kind of weird, but I can, the yellow rose, for those of you that know me, this is kind of weird, you probably think I'm very stable. And, but after
Well,
Richie,
that part I forgot to talk about.
after Richie died, I just reached out to, I was going to psychics, I was going everywhere, and I went to this one lady, and the only one that actually reached for me, it's a long story, but she just told me, surround myself with yellow roses. So any holiday, anything that people that know me, I get yellow roses. So thank you, means a lot.
Okay. Thank you, Jane. Okay, moving along, I do need a motion to open early public comment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Anyone wishing to speak to an agenda item, please do so by coming up, stating your name and address for the record.
Michael Southwell, 81 South Road, Glenwyle Lake. I happen to be the president of the Glenwyle Lake Association, but I'm not here speaking in my official capacity. I'm speaking partially as a private resident, but inevitably what I say will be affected by my position of responsibility over there at the lake. I'm speaking about ordinance for the vacant buildings ordinance.
Excuse me, Mike, real quickly, there will be a public hearing when we get to that. You can speak now, and I'm fine with that. But there will be an opportunity when we introduce the public portion. So you can continue if you have.
I understand that, but I'm here right now.
Good, gotcha. Just checking.
And I'm unlikely to be here then.
Gotcha.
I learned about this ordinance about 3 weeks ago from a newspaper article. I immediately got excited because on the lake we happen to have some vacant buildings, including one which is extremely dilapidated, and it occurred to me that this ordinance, this potential ordinance, could help us at the lake. I read further about it in last week's Suburban Trends, where there was a story about two people speaking apparently in opposition to the ordinance. I read the article very carefully, and one of the people, in fact, said nothing at all one way or the other about the ordinance. The other person made a bunch of statements about what it could or might, or under some circumstances could cause to happen. Well, I want to speak about what is going to happen if you, as I hope you will, pass this ordinance. The building which collapsed on Main Street in Bloomingdale about, I don't know, I'm going to say 3 months ago, whenever it was an embarrassment to the town. This is not the kind of situation that we should have in a borough like Bloomingdale. And the building, dilapidated building which we have at the lake, is equally an embarrassment to us at the lake, although it's much less public than that building was. Our building actually half collapsed a week ago, and the building inspector and the borough engineer came over, and they have agreed that the building needs to be ripped down, and they are going to move very quickly on that process. Actually, more quickly than the time frame anticipated in paragraph 2 of section 11-3.11, which requires a waiting period. There's not going to be any waiting period here, as I understand it. But if this ordinance had been in place, we would never have gotten to the point where we have gotten with this building. It's a terrible, sorry, it's not anymore an attractive nuisance. It was for a long time. But now, if you go to the door and set your hand on the floor, it sinks. This is why the inspector said, I'm sorry, the engineer said, this building must be taken down immediately. And we're on top of that. But had this ordinance been in place, we would have been able to take action to do something about this building before it got to the situation that it is in. I hope and trust that there's no serious opposition to this ordinance, and I am here to encourage you to pass it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Before you go, I just want to clarify a few things. First, I agree 100% with everything you stated, but I want to clarify. At the last meeting, in reference in that news article, there was 2 ordinances. We introduced and will be adopting tonight the unsafe building ordinance, which gives the authority to our local construction department to deem something via the engineer's report, etc., unsafe, and cause a demolition, require demolition. The second ordinance, which we are not adopting tonight, we will be reintroducing this evening, is the vacant building ordinance. And I think the opposition spoke to, in reference in the article, was more towards that ordinance than tonight's. Tonight's is clear cut. You have something falling down, we're going to make you get rid of it. The other one is the one that established an annual permit application and fee that grew over a 5-year period to $5,000. And the reason we are reintroducing, we didn't define the language quick enough to advertise to adopt tonight. I'm working with Fred to clarify the language in that ordinance for the intent of why we're doing it. The intent is, again, for buildings in poorer condition, buildings that are mortgagee owned or vacated by an individual, buildings that we want to bring accountability to, so an owner, by paying a registration fee, would either hopefully sell it, move it, whatever they need to do. I think a perception, because I did receive many calls from residents as well, and a few stopped in to review it. The perception is if you have, for example, a vacancy in your strip mall, or a vacancy in your apartment building, or a vacancy in Waterfall Village or Avalon Bay, for example, that's not the intent of the ordinance, to have those individuals have to pay this annual fee. they're maintaining their facilities, they're doing the right thing, and they're trying to occupy and or sell. So again, we're tweaking the language. We're going to introduce by title to adopt, we hope, at probably June, the first meeting in June, the second order. So I just want to clarify. The one tonight, I'm confident will move, and the second one that charges a fee for vacant buildings that may not be unsafe, but vacant and an eyesore, that's going to be reintroduced tonight and added language to some people were concerned that they're legitimately trying to rent it, and we don't want to harm those kind of situations. Just want to clarify.
Well, thank you very much. And then in response to your first point, you are welcome to ignore what I said about the people quoted in the article in the paper, although I hope you will not ignore my concluding remarks, which were an expression of the hope that you will, in fact, move ahead with this.
Yeah.
And in response to the second one, I understand why you're telling me all those things, but this stuff was actually in the paper and I understood it all. But it's good to get out in public, as you have just done. This is why he's the mayor. The details about how this thing is going to work. So thank you once again for your attention.
Thanks for your time. Anyone else wishing to speak to the agenda item? Oh, please.
I'd like to read a little note.
Just state your name and address for the record.
Elizabeth Brandis, Compton Lakes.
Yes, thanks for being here.
A little note from our association. On behalf of the Passaic County Municipal Clerks Association, we'd like to congratulate Jane. Jane is a dedicated member to the association, and we are proud of her achieving this award. It is fitting that Jane be recognized tonight by the Mayor and Council because May is Municipal Clerks Month. Jane embodies the perfect clerk. What Mayor Dunleavy did not know is that our association, her colleagues, and friends recognize her greatest talent, her ability to make us laugh. Thank you. We love you.
Thank you for speaking to that. Appreciate that. And note for the record that Antoinette's remaining silent on the... Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak to the agenda item, please do so. Stating your name and address for the record. Seeing no one, motion to close, please.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving along to reports. We'll begin first. Jane, do you have anything for? I'm sorry. Let's do the. Yeah, Jane, you report first if you have any reports.
Just the last day to register to vote is, I think it's next Monday or Tuesday night. It's on the website. We'll be open till 9. Also, Memorial Day Parade is starting in Bloomingdale this year, and we'll be marching to Butler. Everything's on the website. Thanks to Rich. And that's it.
Great, thank you, Jane. Fred, do you have anything for us?
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. First, I just also want to express my congratulations to Jane. It's just a pleasure to work with you, and it was just really, well-deserved award. And I just also want to mention that the new COA regulations were issued, and I spoke to Joe Burgess, the borough planner, and he indicated that his phone's ringing off the hook. Everybody wants to know how does it affect a particular community. But he said that by the end of the week he'll have a memorandum that he's going to send to the borough, just indicating what in fact the impact may be to the municipality. One thing that I would note about these regulations, and again they're just brand new and they're not necessarily final because already certain groups are saying they're going to challenge it. But with respect to certain projects that have already been completed and approved, in the past, COA said, we're going to back charge you for that. But in this round, they're not going to do that. I think that's applicable here. And I spoke to Joe Burgess about the Avalon Bay project. I know there was, affordable housing components and suits, but as far as ever being, hit again for that, you're not going to be. So there's not going to be any kind of shortfall because of that project that closed at the right time. So, and on the agenda tonight is the foreclosures. There's a resolution to initiate that as we're going to restart that process. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. Any council member have a committee or liaison report?
Yes. I just want to remind everyone that Town Cleanup Day is this Saturday at 10 a.m. We're meeting at Boat Pond.
Boat Pond, 10 a.m., yes. Today we have over 210 participants coming. Anyone else?
I wasn't there, but I heard the trout and Easter egg on full of successes.
I was I was at the trout contest. It was a lot of fun. The kids had a great time. John, you did a great job as always,
That's fun.
helping out. It was wonderful.
Good job. Thanks, Mike. Anyone else on this end of the days? Okay. Just a couple things that I have. First, we received an award today from the Department of Transportation for $220,000 on our fiscal year 2013 application for the reconstruction of Star Lake Road, including drainage and the like. So we'll begin that process and probably be introducing a bond ordinance at our next meeting if we can. Secondly, which we'll be awarding tonight, as you all know, we received the DEP $1 million interest-free loan from the DEP for the replacement of 5 water lines, primarily in the flats plus Oak Street, poplar, chestnut, birch, and I always forget the fourth plus Oak. Second Street and Oak Street, correct. And the bids came in at $350,000, so considerably less. So we'll be approaching the DEP to see if we can reallocate some of that to possibly Star Lake. So when we do Star Lake, we can do a full water line replacement there. Star Lake consists of curbing, roads, and drainage. So that's good news for the borough with that. The other issue, as you all may have seen on the news, was the event, which was almost a great tragedy in Pequannock, the carbon monoxide situation that affected a pre-K or nursery school, daycare, where 36 children were in the hospital as a result of carbon monoxide poisoning. And an incredible eye-opener that I had no idea that daycares or public schools are not required to install carbon monoxide. I believe we'll be seeing, and we should be the forefront on this, is resolutions and lobbying to the state to make these things such law. And I would look to introduce at our next meeting an ordinance making it our code that daycares, at the very least, we can't control Board of Ed or the education end of it. We can do a resolution supporting it, but locally for daycares, that would have to be part of our code. I referred to Fred, I referred to our ordinance review committee. One of the ordinance review committees got back to me late in the day and thinks it might be part of fire code already, which puzzles me if it is, and why aren't they there? I did receive a few emails from residents who have kids at local in Bloomingdale daycare confirming that they don't have it and would ask the town for support there as well. So that's something we'll be working on aggressively in the next few weeks for our next meeting. So I also spoke to the schools. You know, even though it's not currently code or law, you would hope that everyone would just do it on their own for something like this. And you could do it on an inexpensive hardwire system, something as simple, better than nothing, a battery system, just to have the protection in place. So we'll be bringing that forward as well. Rafkin Road, Phase 1 has begun. The contractor had a few rainouts, but they're aggressively pursuing. He's hoping to complete in excess of 300 feet a day with the goal of paving when school is closed. And he should be completing in 2 months, which would be a perfect start for Phase 2, which bid openings are May 15th to begin Phase 2 of Rafkin. Our utility department's been hopping as a result, getting curb boxes and things marked and in place for Phase 1. So that's aggressively moving along. So a lot of good things happening. And we're going to move along with a motion for the consent agenda. Who makes that, please?
Someone?
Second.
Resolution 5.1 and 5.2, A, B, and C.
So along with the consent, we'll be moving resolution 2014 5.1. Good night, ladies. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us.
5.2. As you see on the consent agenda, we have minutes from April 1st and our regular meeting April 15th. Resolutions supporting Budding Poppy Month and fibrodysplasia ossificans progressive. It was a disease that we received resolutions from other municipalities asking to support awareness to this disease. A proclamation regarding Municipal Clerks Week. Resignation from the Fire Department of Robert Westbank, but appointing to fire police. And report that we've done a note sale. Our notes were due, are due May 8th, and we're rolling $6,016,000. Until next year, we will go to permanent financing at an interest rate of 1.25 annually. So that's what we're moving. Any further comments on the consent agenda? Hearing none, you want to roll call? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Pending business. introduction of ordinance number 6, 2014, introduction by title, underage drinking ordinance, for second and final reading. You want to go, Chief? What do you have?
I have this.
You know what, do the first meeting in June, so we have enough time. Oh, there's no calendar, the calendar's missing.
June 1st.
No, our first meeting?
Yeah, that's primary day.
No, it's
Oh, we don't have a meeting?
Here, June 10th,
June 10th. So second and final reading, June 10th.
and that would be, I would assume, an ordinance amending chapter 6, section 6, and I guess an inserting section
Adding,
6-6.1.
Correct. And just for the record, and we'll have a public hearing on this, our code allows for enforcement of underage drinking. It exists already, but in support of the Municipal Alliance State County program, who was really good to Bloomingdale and good to our youth with their awareness and prevention of alcohol and drug programs, we, along with pretty much now every municipality in State County, will be having this ordinance on the books for second and final reading June 10th at 7 p.m. Thank you, Jim. Who makes that motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmembers Costa,
Yes.
Della Ripa,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Sandemeyer,
Yes.
Yasti.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Item B is second final reading and public hearing on ordinance 4, 2014, amending chapter 11, building and housing, unsafe buildings, to provide for the demolition of a vacant building declared to be a dangerous public health and safety hazard. Public notice statement, please.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this ordinance was posted in the municipal building, published in the Herald News. Copies available to the public, and a motion may be made and be read by
And
title.
who makes that motion?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
That's an ordinance of the Borough of Bloomingdale, County of Passaic, and State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 11, Building and Housing, Section 11-3, unsafe buildings of the Code of the Borough of Bloomingdale to provide for demolition of vacant buildings declared to be dangerous.
So who makes, need a motion to open public hearing?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wishing to speak to ordinance 6, 2014, please come up, state your name and address for the record.
Mayor, for the record,
Yes.
the gentleman who spoke earlier,
Yes.
he spoke specifically about the ordinance.
Yes.
So I think it would be accurate if the minutes were to reflect that, although he spoke before the public hearing, he couldn't stay. And they
Okay.
may want to be part of this public hearing if there's ever
Okay.
anyone looks back on it.
I'm fine with that, I agree entirely. Jane, okay, just for the record. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Seeing no one, motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And who moves to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmembers Della Ripa,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Sandemeyer,
Yes.
Yasti,
Yes.
Costa.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Yep, second and final reading on ordinance 5, 2014, adoption of a cap ordinance required by state statute. Public notice statement, please.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this ordinance was posted in the municipal building, published in the Herald News. Copies available to the public, and a motion may be made that it be read by title.
And who makes that motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank.
Thank you. And who makes the motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wishing to speak to 5, 2014, cap ordinance, please come up, state your name and address for the record. See no one, motion closed.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And who moves to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmembers Hudson,
Yes.
Sandemeyer,
Yes.
Yasti,
Yes.
Costa,
Yes.
Della Ripa.
Yes. Thank you. And at this time, we'll be reintroducing ordinance 3, 2014 for second and final reading, also on June 10th, 7 p.m., for the vacant and abandoned properties ordinance, proposed to be chapter 11.8. And I need a motion to reintroduce by title. Again, second and final reading, June 10th. Who makes that motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes, that would be an ordinance, proposed ordinance for vacant and abandoned properties.
That's fine, that's the title. Okay. And as I stated, myself, the ordinance review, and Fred will be working on language, just to clarify the intent. which is making it very clear for everyone. Thank you. New business. Introduction of ordinance 7/2014, authorizing the release of animals on private property. It's an introduction by title. Who makes that motion?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilmembers Costa,
Yes.
Del Rippe,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Sandemeyer,
Yes.
Yazdi.
Yes.
And that would be an ordinance for the removal or release on private property of animals.
Yes, and I'll explain. It sounds odd. In our code now, we have a $25 fee for the removal of dead animals on private property for our animal control. And what we're doing is amending it to say the removal or release of animals. Because many times our ACO is called out to get a raccoon out of a garage or get a resident may use a safe cage and trap an animal and call us to go remove it. So, we're out there on our time and our gasoline and all the like. So, again, the current ordinance just says removal of a dead animal. This one is removal or release of any animal. So many times they're just released in the woods, on the property, etc. So that's what we're doing here. Second and final reading. Second and final reading, did you say?
We have all that. June 10th.
June 10th. Okay, in case that wasn't clear on that. Thank you. Item B, adoption resolution 2014, 5.3, authorizing settlement to various tax appeals in Campbell Lake. Who makes that motion?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion on that? Roll call, please.
Councilmembers Del Rippe,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Sandemeyer,
Yes.
Yazdi,
Yes.
Costa.
Yes.
Thank you. Now I need a motion to move resolution 2014 5.4, authorizing contract with the Borough of Ringwood for Snake Den Road services. Who makes that motion?
So moved.
Second.
And any discussion? Just so everyone's aware, including the public, this has been a contract in place for many, many years. Ringwood provides police protection, fire protection, ambulance services, garbage and recycling collection, and snow plowing for Bloomingdale residents who live on Snake Den Road. The annual cost is $34,489, and we're just reauthorizing that agreement. It's been in place for years. It is cost effective to do so rather than our staff providing those services in such a distance. That's any questions on that, you let me know, and I need a roll call, please.
Councilmembers Hudson,
Yes.
Sandemeyer,
Yes.
Yazdi,
Yes.
Costa,
Yes.
Del Rippe.
Yes. It's not attached. Okay, that's fine. Sorry? No.
Sorry.
Okay, that's fine. Item D, need a motion to adopt resolution 2014 5.5, authorizing purchase of lawnmower and trailer for the cost of $13,500. This is for our DPW staff. Will now begin the cutting of grass at Walter G. Bergen and Martha B. Day, rather than subcontracting that out. Who makes that motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Hey, weren't we looking at leasing at one point, or?
There was not an option. We didn't affect the bidding process, so we got quotes anyway. The other reason was it wasn't a lease where you walk away from it. It would have been a lease where you're going to buy it anyway. So with the funds available, we just buy it outright. So it made no difference financially. Do you need any roll call?
Yes.
John,
Yes.
do you have an estimated savings?
On the
equipment versus the...
Again, first year, you'll be even because of the outlay, capital outlay of $13,500. But going forward, your savings would be about $12,000.
Just adding
That's fine.
same thing.
Just give me a roll call, please.
Councilmembers Sandemeyer,
Yes.
Yazdi,
Yes.
Costa,
Yes.
Del Rippe,
Yes.
Hudson.
Yes.
And then I need a motion for adoption of resolution 2014 5.6. This is approving the contract for water main replacement awarded to Caro Corporation in the amount of $384,255. Who makes that motion?
So moved.
Second?
Any further discussion? Again, other than it is $620,000 and change less than the funding allotted to us, so we'll make a decision as a governing body on how we'll move forward. My recommendation will be, I'll tell you now, to go to Star Lake with it and see if we're allowed to do so. Roll call, please.
Councilmembers Yasti,
Yes.
Costa,
Yes.
Dela Ripa,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Sandemeyer.
Yes.
Okay. And the adoption resolution 2014-5.7 is authorizing uncashed refunds for municipal court. We need a resolution to disperse these monies from the municipal court general account, and it's a whopping $7 in order to release those. And who makes that motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmembers Costa,
Yes.
Dela Ripa,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Sandemeyer,
Yes.
Yasti.
Item G, Resolution 2014-5.8. We are authorizing the repair of 7 Knolls Road culvert and the snagging of Sally Street Brook to Kapolsky Land Improvement Corporation in the amount of $28,000. This is funded by the flood bond. The Knolls culvert is clearly, you can see it at this address on 7 Knolls. It's a failing culvert, and we'll be getting that done sometime in June, early June. Who makes that motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? This has been on the table for many, many, many years, so I'm bringing it to closure.
This does not go to bid.
No, it's under quote threshold. The engineers saw the quotes, and this was low quote. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmembers Dela Ripa,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Sandemeyer,
Yes.
Yasti,
Yes.
Costa.
Yes. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. The next, I need a motion approval of agreement and release, an exit agreement for retiring 2 individuals. First, I'll ask for a motion for the agreement and release of Mr. Robert Woodier, who is our dispatcher for 10 years. He is retiring May 31st, and the agreement is a public document. So with his unused sick time, his payment for unused sick time is $9,515.73. That will be received on the final pay period of May. And who makes that motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Other than, if you guys get to see, if you see Woody, if you see Bob, thank him, wish him well. He wanted no fanfare. I'm sure the police department will do something themselves. I wanted to have an out-of-council meeting to recognize them, but just in their humble fashion, they passed. So take your time, the residents too. If you see Woody, wish him well, please. Roll call, please.
Councilmembers Hudson,
Yes.
Sandemeyer,
Yes.
Yasti,
Yes.
Costa,
Yes.
Dela Ripa.
Yes. And next, I need a motion for approval, agreement, and release of Officer,
Gildersleeve?
yes, Mark Gildersleeve. First, give me the motion, please. So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Again, if I may, here again, Mark has served the borough for 25 years. He's, as all our officers, an extremely, extremely fine officer. He will be missed. He's a great gentleman as well. He retires as a sergeant, effective May 31st. We again wish him well. His accumulated sick time has totaled to the amount of $85,106, and the agreement in the exit agreement is 3 equal payments, just that amount divided out, $28,368.67, paid May 30, 14, May 31st, 15, May 31st, 16. Again, it's just that amount. There's no additional monies in there, paid over a 3-year period. Is the agreement we're offering. And again, I just wish him well. You see him. I don't know if you will see him. He may have a day or two to be in. But again, we can only thank him for his many, many years of service to our borough. He's one of the finest. And I need a roll call, please.
Councilmember Sandemeyer,
Yes.
Yasti.
Yes.
Costa.
Yes.
Delariva.
Yes.
Hudson. Yes.
Thank you. And then I need a resolution, 2014 5.9. This is to have our attorney re-begin, if there's such a word, the foreclosure on certain properties within the borough. And I've stated this on the record numerous times. We have, a handful of properties that the borough has become owner through tax, or actually holds through tax sales. People not pay their taxes, we own the property. But we need to foreclose on those properties because we still currently pay about $15,000 annually cumulatively to the Board of Ed of the county on these properties. Once we foreclose, that goes away. These are, again, postage-size stamped lots. That once we close it, we own, we'll look at them. I don't know if there's a public purpose, if they can adjoin a park, or we can then offer to an adjoining neighbor for fair market value. Those are things we can look at. The goal now is to get it off the tax rolls. And Fred's office is going to begin that process. So who moves that resolution, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? And again, other than it's been on the table for a while, we tried a number of years ago, and it really didn't take off. Fred worked on it a little bit last year. There were some incorrect filings and title issues, so now we're ready to move and bring this to conclusion. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Yasti.
Yes.
Costa.
Yes.
Delariva.
Yes.
Hudson.
Yes.
Sondemire.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The next item is the introduction of ordinance 8/2014. This is a bond ordinance for borough-wide drainage improvements to municipal complex and facilities, including equipment, purchase of borough vehicles, improvements to various roadways, including paving, in the amount of $709,400. I'll explain after we get a motion. Who makes that motion for introduction?
So moved.
Sir?
Any discussion? Just so everyone's aware, we are reallocating money. This is money being canceled out of the 2011 flood ordinance, obviously leaving money in there required for Sloan Park. And just to recap the work that's been done with the original $1.8 million bond, the drains were cleared, rivers were desnagged, Van Dam and Chestnut was repaired, the sidewalk and culvert there. The Leisure Brook erosion was, the shore banks were re-shored there. Boston Culvert, that money staying in the bond, that project's going out to a quote in the next few weeks. That's right off Union on the beginning of Boston. That will be done, that money staying there. Knowles Road, we authorized earlier. Grant Lane, improvements, some were made, a bit of that is being canceled. Overlook Road sinkhole was done, High Street erosion curbing was done, and Culver Street, Catherine Street culvert again. So things have been achieved, and there are $709,000 we're reallocating, which will be put in a bond ordinance to fund various capital projects this year, for the record, and I'll speak more to it at the public hearing. There'll be road paving. Not only will there be road paving of Rafkin Road Phase 1 and 2, which is part of the Rafkin project, there'll be 5 roads paved from the DDP project unrelated to our additional capital. Again, those are 2nd Street, Poplar, Birch, Chestnut, and Oak will be paved. But then I have from our paving plan, our 10-year plan, Sunrise, Clark, Forest, section, mostly, all of Forest, Glen. Again, I'll in detail when we move on those things. That'll be through the co-op. We'll be purchasing 3 DPW trucks. I've done a 10-year vehicle plan, and we will be replacing a 1999 Mason dump that currently, again, is a 99 with a damaged frame. We'll be replacing a 2001 whack body, which is literally, I refer to as the Fred Flintstone car because there's quite a bit of rot on it. And we'll also be buying a pickup truck with a plow for our superintendent, whose Durant will then go to the fire department, fire and police. It'll, one, give our superintendent a more practical vehicle to utilize in his function and allow him to plow, and the dire need of a vehicle in the fire department, which Councilman D'Amato's not here, but you can clearly attest to. So those are some of the things we'll be doing capital this year. and we'll go from there. There's one other thing.
Mayor, is it possible to get a list of all the stuff we're looking to do with that?
Well, yeah, once we introduce and then we go to start spending the money, yes, I'll prepare a capital worksheet for everyone. But again, just giving the public and you an issue now. The emergency we declared for Sandra Lane will be out of this. We will be paving the driveway of DPW lot. That is beyond repair. There's a flood mapping issue that I'm hoping in the next 4 to 6 weeks to have a public meeting with residents in the Roy Ave, Charles Street, that area. We believe that it's inaccurately declared a flood zone. And FEMA has no intent in their new remapping with the Army Corps of Engineers of revisiting that part of the watershed. It would cost a homeowner roughly $10,000 to do what's called a LOMAR, Letter of Map Revision. I'm looking at and I'm seeking prices from our hydrologist who's working with us in Sloan Park to pay a consultant to do this and do it as an assessment project. I'm guesstimating, because there's 70 homes in the affected area, we're all paying $1,500 to $2,200 in flood insurance. We feel inappropriate, it shouldn't be, and data will prove that. And if we can do an assessment project, it could be as low as $2,000 per household to do this. Could be, again, if I'm going to get it, our estimate's going to be $40,000, it would be $700 a household, versus them getting their own engineer, their own hydrologist spending $10,000. So this is something that I might bring forward, that I will bring forward as a project which will desperately help these residents. And so I'm working on all that before I bring it any further out. But I want to have a public meeting to speak with the residents very soon on that. So, but yes, Councilman, you'll have a detailed sheet on what we're moving. And like I did last year, and I think it was June 21st of last year, we had on the agenda all those items. So that was voted on, and then we have to come back to you, each and every time we moved on those based on estimates. And I'll submit to you. Okay? And,
You may have said it, but Sloan Park project.
Sloan Park, yes.
There's enough.
Yes.
To,
Well,
that's not being transferred.
No, not at all. What's left in the Sloan Park line right now is $643,000. Now, I'm confident the bids will come in lower than that, but if they were more, that bond ordinance was specific to Sloan Park. You'd have to reallocate, we would be able to reallocate something to 709 as a flood drain issue. Now, where are we on that? Gosh, probably a month already I was in front of the DEP with an app with a objector. We were told last Friday was the deadline for all comments, and I've been reaching out to Cindy Randazzo, who is our intergovernment liaison to the DEP in the governor's office, who's been helping, because we're done here. We need to get this out to bid by Memorial Day. It's kind of amazing the delays that we all are aware of. It's 2 years we've got funding in place, almost 3. And I keep saying I'm confident we'll get it by. I'd like to go on record and say I'll have it by the end of the week. But the DEP calls and says they deny it, and we shock me either these days. So but I think within regulation they have no reason to deny it. So our engineers confident will still be out to bid by Memorial Day.
But the reason why DEP's been dragging, they're not dragging their feet. Someone has to.
Someone's objected. Someone's objected who was afraid they will be affected by the work we're doing, and we've proven to reduce the floodplain. It's actually going to help that person's situation, and I think we've proven that point. Now it's up to the DEP to tell us we're moving forward. Okay, so we still got a motion on the table. Any other comment? I mean, I'll speak more to it. I spoke too much about it. It's just an introduction, but we're going to be aware of it. And roll call, please.
Councilmembers Costa.
Yes.
Del Ripa.
Yes.
Hudson.
Yes.
Sandemeyer.
Yes.
Yazdi.
Yes.
And that would be an ordinance reappropriating $709,400 proceeds of obligations not needed for their original purpose in order to provide for the various improvements and purposes referred to herein in and by the Borough Council of the Borough of Bloomingdale, New Jersey. That's June 10th, 7 p.m.
That's fine. June 12th. We're safer. Okay, then my one non-agenda item is the authorization hiring of a part-time dispatcher. As we stated a moment ago, and approved the release agreement for Bob Woodier. We, at our last meeting, or a meeting a few ago, hired Dorothy McMaster to replace Woody, and now, at the chief's recommendation, he is asking that we hire Chelsea Adams as part-time dispatcher. This is a position of Friday, Saturday, Sunday from 4 to 12 p.m. with an hour salary of $14.44. And again, the experience qualifications are listed on your resumes attached to all of you, and we're hiring a very extremely qualified person to fulfill these shoes of Dorothy, and hopefully that will occur. So who makes that motion, please?
So moved.
Second. Any further discussion?
It's a salary position, or
It's
that rate?
hourly, $14.44 an hour.
That rate's in the contract, am I not?
Yeah,
You just negotiate.
it's a contractual rate. And again, based on last year's white collar negotiation, it is a lower hourly rate than the prior contract.
Yep.
But it's, yeah, I don't know if you'll be here Friday, Saturday, Sunday before 12, but say hello if you are. Okay, I need a motion to open late public comment.
So,
I'm sorry. Roll call on that, please.
Councilmembers Delariva?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes.
Sandemeyer?
Yes.
Yasti?
yes.
Costa?
Yes. Thank you. Now I need a motion to open late public comment.
So move.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wishing to speak, please come up, state your name and address for the record.
Linda Huntley, 86 Van Dam Avenue, Bloomingdale. The ordinance 7-2014 authorized the release of animals on private property. Does that mean that if there is a rabid raccoon on my property, I have to pay to have it taken off the property now?
If you have, yeah, if the ordinance is adding language, right now it says remove dead, now it's remove or release any animal.
So what are we paying in our taxes for the animal control officer? Isn't that we're paying in our taxes to have her do this, for the animal control officer do that?
Right, but there's additional fees in disposal of that animal, and.
But it's
again,
not our animal.
excuse me.
It's not our animal. If we have a diseased,
Right, the
wild
borough's
animal on
still
the
spending the
property.
money to get rid of it.
so what's,
So our current contract, well, the borough, as you know, the borough, our tax obligation to the operation is minimal because of our shared services, which is helpful. But as a, you know, to generate revenue, absolutely, to help offset costs, and, you know, with the goal of, you know, broadening that service, or now that we run a shelter, help funding that, any additional revenue is good.
aren't we really hitting residents of Bloomingdale with so many different fines and fees for everything that you do? Our fees for construction are higher than any of the other towns around that we also service. Now we're going to be charging our residents for a sick animal that's not their animal on their property, which could very well happen, that someone's going to get the animal off their property onto someone else's property. Someone could get injured because of that.
They're not going to release a rabid animal back
No,
into
but
the
I'm
wild.
not saying, I'm saying if I have a rabbit, raccoon on my property, so I have to pay to have this rabbit raccoon removed.
Based on the new ordinance, $25.
So what if I just make sure the thing gets onto somebody else's property? Then
Well-
somebody could very well get injured.
Okay, but if you had a dead raccoon on your property, you currently would pay $25 by current code. So
All right, throw it up, it's not.
there was never an objection to that. That's my point.
I think, I have a problem with any of it, because I think that you're really hitting the residents with fees on a constant basis. We have the COOs for, when they leave town, they have to have their house inspected, and in the paper was saying how they didn't even inspect the house properly, that had to have that furnace replaced.
The paper said that?
Yeah,
Was it factual what the paper stated?
I had heard it from some other people
No,
too.
no, no. That was an absolute rumor, a falsehood, and you got to be careful stating those in public
It
record.
was in the paper. I'm sorry that, well, I guess I can't believe what the paper says, but
Well, it depends. The paper didn't quote it as fact.
it was in the ledger, yeah, it did.
No, the paper quoted a former councilwoman stating that. Exactly what occurred. So again, I'm not going to argue on
I'm
that issue.
talking about the paper said that there was these people purchased a home on Sunrise, and the home needed a furnace and water heater, and they had the COO from the town, and then they had to go back to the town, have them to rescind the COO, because.
But the CO is not a home inspection. It checks for fire extinguishers, you know,
But they were also-
smoke detectors, It's not
And
checking
we
the
charge
status of your
you
furnace.
$200 tip for that.
Well, Again, just to make for the record.
But that was what
You
was
mentioned
in the
we charge all these tons of fees.
We do.
Okay, but
We charge construction fees.
what year was the CCO put on
This year,
books?
this year. I don't know when this is. But that was 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
No, that CCO was a good 6 years ago. What other fee did you mention?
Our construction fees are much higher than anybody else.
And again, when were they increased or put on the
They're,
books?
I don't know when the last time they were increased.
Again, easily 6 years ago.
But all I know is I think.
They haven't been done since I've been there, I'll tell you that much.
Well, I think a lot of the fees in this town, we're really just jamming the residents, and to turn around now, I mean, in the new budget, the fees for the ACO have gone up quite a bit.
Can I ask you a question, and I don't mean to be rude in any way, I honestly don't, but it's a question that just came in. You served on the council for many years.
Mhm.
I'm just curious, why didn't you bring up a recommendation on any of these reductions at that time?
I have, and I did.
Okay, I just had to ask.
That's why I voted no to so many things.
Okay, no, I just had to ask a question.
But now,
I appreciate your comments, and, this is a recommendation from our animal control department.
my concern
And
is
this
when
is
you
our
have a
vote.
sick animal, it's one thing if it's somebody else's own animal, but if you have a sick animal on your property, and to turn around and say that, when I'm paying for the ACO through my taxes, now I've got to pay an additional fee for her to do her job, I think is just a little bit over the top as far as I'm concerned to residents.
I absolutely
Oh,
appreciate your comments.
next question.
Yes,
For the ordinance, for the bond ordinance,
yes.
we also have that the drains on Van Dam Avenue, there's some drains prior to Tice that were supposed to be repaired.
I believe that money's remaining. I'll check with the engineer on the estimate for that. Replacement,
They were supposed to be checked because I don't think they were working properly.
right, there's 24,000 on Tice Street, and that would,
That was on Van Dam prior to Tice.
right, but that's Tice/Van Dam. They were paving this year from Whitehaven to Chestnut, and from Walnut to Union. So the goal is, when that project's done, to do any basin repairing at that time.
It's not the basin stuff, it's the drains, they don't.
That
I don't
whole
think
water,
they're connected.
the corner of Walnut and Van Dam holds water, doesn't drain properly.
No, this is Tice.
No, I know, Tice doesn't drain properly,
Mhm.
correct, that's all part of
That's
it.
where that flooded this past month
Correct.
also.
No, I know, yeah, but a lot of that flooding, that one storm drain goes right into that brook, which is only 6 inches deep, and it just, until we get permission to dredge,
But that one, it's
That's
coming
not
up from
gonna
the
be-
drain, it's not coming, it wasn't coming over from the brook, it was coming out of the drain, the water.
right, because it has nowhere to go, because the brook is back, the river's
The
back.
drain doesn't flow anywhere, it just,
But that is on the list to do, but when we pave the roads, all be part of that project. And there's no way in the budget we could do all of Van Dam, those are the 2 worst areas, so that was the plan for this year.
one of my cars is the same, and I just have to say, my son can car.
Just don't run over any animals, otherwise, but.
I won't, I'll make sure they go somebody else's property.
Anyone else wishing to speak, Tim? Yes, please.
I'm going to be a while.
Oh, I'm going to be short. And here's 17 Greenwood Avenue,
How are you?
fine. In regards to this thing that she was just talking about, is that money strictly going towards the shelter, or where's that money going that you're charging now us extra?
That money will go strictly towards the operation of animal control, which includes the shelter. Yes.
Okay, so, we are paying taxes, again, for everyone's salary, so since we're paying for salaries, and when we pay for our taxes, it's for garbage collection, it's for this, it's for that, it's for police. Well, why are we paying extra? Why?
Purely to generate revenue to help run the operation, particularly the cost of running a shelter.
So aren't you getting any private donations or anything like that?
Usually in the form of product, but we can't because we're not a nonprofit. It's a borough-run operation. Something the borough can consider, if they choose, is to make the shelter a nonprofit. But to date, and as we speak, it is a borough-run shelter. So any donations in the form of food and things like that. So it's funded. When it was done, we capped it at $30,000 from the borough, correct? And it's running well, but any additional revenue can help. Any additional revenue, to help, hire a part-timer if it's needed, without affecting the tax bill anymore. So that's the goal.
I find a dead animal, throw it in the streets.
Let's not put them in the drain.
Uh-huh.
Anyone else?
Creek Art 1946 Sunset Road. I'd like to follow up the previous two. I find it a little difficult after Governor came in his big thing was consolidate, merge, share your services. More has been said than really done. And right now, we're adding a $25 fee, and I want to be able to differentiate. What happens if I wind up with a dead ravenous dog that attacks me versus a dog that just died on my property? Am I going to be charged $25? It seems like we're the heaviest tax state in the entire union, and we get more and more into government, and I'm really wondering if we're spending every dollar the way we should.
Well, my first comment would be direct to you is, yes, we are, because this year's municipal tax increase is 0. So that wasn't achieved without smart financial planning. So again, to answer your question, Nora, if you, the dog example, if our animal control has to remove a dead animal or any animal from your property and release it, there will be a $25 charge.
What if they don't release it?
Excuse me. There'll be $25 charge. There currently is a $25 charge that's been on the books forevermore for just dead animals. So no one was upset when it was just a dead animal. Now that the town's going to trap a live one, I don't see why there's so much objection. Well, not so much.
I think the issue is that you're just showing a light on a fee that we never knew we had, and some of us don't feel that we should be charged in the first place.
We also deliver mulch for $50. We also charge you for your cat and dog license. Should all those things be waived because you pay taxes? I'm just asking.
With the mulch, my argument would be that I'm asking for something. I'm asking for you to deliberate.
You're asking for an animal to be taken off your
No,
property?
what I'm asking for is mulch. You just stated the mulch scenario, and I'm saying if I choose to mulch my own leaves and use it on my property, I don't need to call a mulch and I'm done with it. But if an animal from the wild comes and dies on my property, I want it. What should I do? Let the birds have it? Because there are carnivores out there that will take care of the carcass for me. Or
that's your choice. I would rather pay $20 to get the dead animal off the property, which exists already. But you go back to the fees. You know, I'll email a copy of our fee schedule. You pay a fee to have a flea market, a garage sale. You pay a fee. These are all been on the books forevermore. A fee to license your dog, a fee to license your cat, a fee to have a block party. What else you pay a fee for, Jane? I mean, our fee ordinance is quite a hardy ordinance. Excuse me? So you pay a fee to get rid of the batteries, your tires, you pay, and so on. So I hear you, but it's not something we just created.
I thought this was the battery. Now that you mentioned the batteries, I'm going to go on another tangent and say, I thought we put it all out to the curb and it was just simply recycled.
Yeah, I think it's tires you pay for. Batteries, I think, I think we make money off of that.
Anyway, I was struck by what goes on over here. I thought, it's been over a year since I've been here. I'm a marvel that, the way things are moving. I like the overheads, I love the overheads. I think a lot of good things have happened under your mayorship and your administration. I'd like to ask if I can get something, give you folks something to think about to get greater involvement in terms of, I'm losing it. I have my remarks, but what I'd like to do is get some ability to get some public comment on issues such as what we've got here, issues as far as the taxation, how we move forward in terms of saving tax dollars. We've got a huge, our tax burden, the majority of which is the school system, and we're powerless to do anything about it. We're powerless with the state, and I'm wondering if this not only goes on, not only in New Jersey, but it goes on throughout the country, and especially, nationally. I'd like to know, we can get together on maybe a monthly basis and start discussing issues such as immigration reform, guns right, whatever, and basically...
I mean, to answer your question is, yes, but we do. We have 2 monthly council meetings, which anything can be discussed. So you're saying to do more?
Well, I was thinking of more of town hall meetings rather than this formal structure so that people will know, let's say we're going to discuss how we should do immigration and not repeat the Reagan administration folly of chewing up a bunch of illegal aliens and not really, not really addressing what goes on down the road. I think everyone will agree that we need to do something with immigration and we need to come up with logical immigration reform, but I have not heard one single thing that's really comprehensive from Washington or anyone else other than we're going to chew these people up and we're going to hope for the best with e-verifying, or, we've got many holes. I'm a naturalized American citizen, and I resent the fact that there's somebody being born here in the United States today who's only going to spend maybe a week to two, in the U.S., going back to their native country, doing what they do, being assimilated into their culture, and actually being able to come over here and actually running for president when I can't even get anywhere near the line of succession. I think an American small town might want to have the voice of the people heard, because quite frankly, I hear an awful lot of public polls about this, that, and the other thing, and I'm the type of person that's really a critical thinker, and you give me what you want, and I will come up with a poll that will get you that. I am on a do not call list. I block all 800 numbers if you don't want to give it to me. I have never been called in 12 years I've been in Bloomingdale once for my opinion on public poll. What I do is I do an awful lot of reading on the internet. I post comments, and I hear a lot of people talking just like me. We need to get involved, we need to get together, we need to let our elected officials do it. We've done it over here locally. I would like to see if there's any interest in the borough to do more, or frankly, with the rest of the electorate, with the rest of we the people. And I'll leave it up to you folks to discuss it in your executive sessions, and I'll be more than willing to toe the line, do whatever it takes. And I think we could do something like this over the internet a lot easier, save you a lot of time. You've used it, extensively, and I applaud you for that. It's the best way to do it than picking up the phone, because you can prioritize. There's a lot of things we can do. And I'd be more than glad to get involved in any way, shape, or form if you people think that it's worth the traction.
Great. I'll call you on that, and not to nominate, let's get through the budget process and whatnot, get all that done. But I know Rich and I could, from an IT standpoint, as far as getting things on Facebook and social medias and all, getting the public to be aware of more, we're all for it. So we'll have that conversation.
I would love,
Yeah.
I'd like to help.
Fred,
Yes.
I just want to make a comment. This is the only type of work I do, representing municipalities. And I want to tell you that, versus other towns, that Bloomingdale overall is very accessible to that town meeting that you talked about. I just want to give you an example. Your minutes tonight for the last meetings were approved. A lot of towns, doesn't always happen that way, right up to date. Second, the meeting is being taped. It's available to the public. A lot of towns don't want televised meetings because they just don't want it for whatever reasons. It's not required, but it happens. Public portion. All the town has to do is have one public portion. In Bloomingdale, there's two. Public portion of the meeting. There's case law that says you can limit the public's comments to 3 minutes. And then the person would have to sit down. Now, sometimes when there's great controversy and everyone wants to speak, it's been invoked here, maybe once or twice. But when you got up, I heard you say something, I'm going to be a while. In another town, they'd say good luck. They have a timer to say how long you're going to be able to speak. That's not the case here. No one has ever asked to sit down. The other thing is, by law, the governing body doesn't have to answer your questions. But here, you engage in a dialogue, as you just did now. A lot of towns, they say, well, we don't have to answer, or we'll answer later when you don't have the floor anymore, eliminating that dialogue. That doesn't happen here. And again, the time isn't limited, and the dialogue is both ways. So there's a lot of things that happen when you're looking for a town meeting that are happening right here, and it's way beyond what the law, the minimum that the law provides. It's above and beyond. There's a lot of towns, people argue they want a second public portion of the meeting, and you already have that here. So I just want you to know that you know, it's a very nice format, you know, personally, professionally, I would say to you, it's a very friendly and public engaging type format that's happened here. Even when the meetings, everyone doesn't agree, I've seen people get up and have the floor a real long period of time, and people ask questions and get answers. So just so you know.
Thank you very much for your time.
And just to add to that, at our next meeting, we're going to be going over the budget and where your tax dollars are being spent. I hope you can make it. And you know, you mentioned that we don't have any control over, you know, school tax dollars. Neither does this body. But we're going to go through it and show you where your tax dollars are going. So I'm hoping that you make it. And for me personally, some of the things you said, you know, about some of the national issues, things of that sort. If you feel there is a need for a forum for people to get together and talk it through, you know, maybe an idea would be to start a committee, have you chair that committee, and open it to public, give you the night, and listen to public's comments, take notes, bring it to us. It seems there are issues that we can do something about, and there are issues that we can do, you know, we can pass
Absolutely.
up.
If I can just continue the dialogue and stretch your day out a little bit longer, I would love to get involved in something like that. I'm in IT. I know you're in IT. I know councilperson Dylan Perina. Sorry. But I'm in IT, and I can see millions of ways to get involved and do this, and we have to worry about security, how it's going to happen. But I think the first thing we need to do is let the people know that, do we want to consider this, and maybe we can put it on the agenda for the next council meeting, and have people come in and see if anyone's really interested in it. Because it's not only your buy-in, but it's also the townspeople buy-in. And I would love to be able to do it on there, so we can just do it on our smartphones. We can get there from here. It's just a question of, do we want to put in a sweat equity and maybe come up with a resolution?
Well, we would absolutely give you that time, but I will tell you now, it will not be next meeting because we have a budget adoption.
I would love to.
We'll vote on that.
Not an issue, but we can put it down the road, and I will be there for the
But to your point, like, you use next meeting as an example. And Fred, I appreciate all your comments. Really, sometimes you do this and you just forget those points, and they're extremely valid. The next meeting's our budget, which is 28% of people's tax bill. And I would want 100 people here, but sadly we're going to get 10. We put it on the website, we put it in the newspaper, we put it in every social network. I do my own email blast to 300. I want that, and it's sad. The Board of Ed is 50+% a year. 0 people have their budget adoption. I mean, it's just, so I'm all for it. I think everything we do is about making sure the public's engaged, but almost tragically, you don't get the.
I think it's the sweat equity we need to put in. I would.
Oh, but that's done though. I mean, we do quite a bit of sweat equity. I'm saying to get the return on the participation. I wish it was more.
We all work on expected value. I pay taxes expecting a certain value in services I receive, so it's a quid pro quo. Sure. What I would love to do is state in the public record, I will do anything. I will run point. I will be the moderator of whatever public discussion. But I would really love to see it on the internet. That's why I want to go down that road. And we need to start with getting people together in town to talk about it and pray that we get enough people.
All right. We'll continue this conversation, Craig.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to speak? Seeing no one, a motion to close late public?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have in a late executive session, there's 2 matters of litigation, 1 matter of personnel, and any consideration of executive session business will be given public comment. Governing body schedule, last day to register to vote for the primary, May 13th. Clerk's office open until 9 p.m. Our next regular meeting and budget adoption, May 20th, 2014. Memorial Day Parade, Monday the 26th, line up 8:30 on Van Dam, and cleanup day, 10 a.m. Bow Pond this Saturday. Thank you all for attending, and motion to enter an executive. Motion?
Second.
All in favor? No, there won't be any action, but just make that statement.